Okay, in this video I'm going over the bottom portion of page 210 in your Go Math textbook. So again, follow along. Let's take a look. Number 1, 25% of 320. Okay, so they used a bar model here. So let's take a look. 25% is 1/4. So we'll use 4 equal parts, and you can see that here. They've broken it up into 4 equal parts just because it's a compatible number. It's a number that's going to work easily with this particular problem. Okay, and then essentially what they're doing is we're breaking 320 into 4 parts, or dividing by 4, and the same thing as dividing by 4 is multiplying by 1/4. So 1/4 times 320 is the same thing as 1/4 times 320 over 1. We can cross simplify. Okay, let's see, 4 will go into 32, 8 times? So that's going to be 80. And 4 goes into 4 1 time. No, first they did it, and then they simplified. Then they did the division. I did it a little different order than they did, but we got 80. So let's see if we're right. If each one of these is 80, let's check our work. We would have 160 and 160. And yes, in fact, 160 plus 160 is 320. So 1/4, or 25%, would be 80. Okay. I'm going to erase a little bit. I don't want you to do any erasing. Okay, 80% of 50. So again, same idea. Okay, same idea. We can do a bar graph. We can also change this to a fraction, like we saw in the steps on the previous problem. That would be 80 over 100. And then 50 is 50 over 1. Okay, and then multiply. Well, I can cross simplify. 50 goes into 100 twice, 50 goes into 50 once. So we get 80 over 2. And if we simplify that, we can divide the top and the bottom by 2. We're going to get 40 over 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 80 divided by 2 is 40. And then 40 over 1 is equal to just 40. So 80% of 50 would be 40. Okay, same thing on number 3. Step 1, change it to a fraction. Step 2, multiply it. So 170 over 24 over 1. 24 is the same thing as 24 over 1. I can cross simplify here. That can be 2 can go into 150 times, 2 can go into 24 12 times. Oh, I can do it again. 2 can go into 50 25 times. 2 can go into 12 6 times. Okay, and then I multiply straight across. 175 times 6. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Whoops. So 175 times this 6. That's going to give me my numerator. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 7 is 42, plus the 3 is 45. 6 times 1 is 6, plus the 1 is 10. So 1,050 over 25, because 25 times 1 is 25. And then I can simplify that. I'm erasing, but you never erase your work, just get more scratch paper. 1,050 over 25. I know 25 will go into both, so I'm going to divide the numerator and the denominator by 25. 25 divided by 25 is 1. 25 goes into 100 4 times. I have 10 hundreds, so that's 10 times 4 is 40. And then 2 more times for the 50, so it's going to be 42. 42. So 175% of 24 is 42. You ask, well, how can you get a bigger number? Well, when we say 175% of a number, we're saying more than 100%. So more than 100% of 24 would just be 24. So we're going more than 24. In this case, up to 42. Okay. All right, let's look at number 4. Same idea, we change 60% to a fraction. Okay, multiply it by 210, and that's the same thing as 210 over 1. Cross simplify. 10 will go into 110 times, 10 will go into 210 21 times. Okay. Now I can multiply straight across. Get 10, 10 times 1 is 10, and then 21 times 60. I'm going to get zeros. Done with that, 0 placeholder, 6, 12, 1,260, and then divide both the top and the bottom by 10. It's going to cut off those zeros, and you're going to end up with 126 over 1, which is equal to just 126. Okay, so a lot of math, a lot of steps, but if you take your time and go through the steps, you'll get it right. But you do have to take your time and go through the steps. Okay, let's go to number 5. A jar contains 125 marbles. Given that 4% of the marbles are green, 60% of the marbles are blue, and the rest are red, how many red marbles are in the jar? Well, first we need to find out how many red marbles there are. Okay, what percent? So 4% are green, 60% are blue, so that's a total of 64% that are either blue or green. And since the rest are red, we take the whole, the total 100%, minus the blue and the green, 64%, and that'll tell us the red. Okay, so borrowing 36% then are red. So now that we know that, we're finding 36% of 125. Well, that's what we've been doing this whole time, right? 36% of, sorry about that, of 125. Oh my goodness. I can already tell it's going to mess me up again. No. Stop giving me that line. All right, give me 1 second. I apologize. I'm going to pause and then fix this, and then I'll come back. All right, we should be good to go. 125. So we change 36%. I'm going to do my work over here. Again, you don't need to erase any of your work. So 36%, I change it to a fraction, and then multiply it times 125, which is the same thing as 125 times 125 over 1. Ooh, my goodness. Okay, cross simplify. 25 goes into 104 times. 25 goes into 125 5 times. Okay, now I can multiply. This is going to give me 4 along the bottom. And then 36 times 5. 36 times 5. It's like my worst one yet. 5 times 6 is 30. 15 plus the 3 is 18. So 180 over 4. And then, not quite done yet. So I have this 180 over 4. Get to that step. I'm going to erase some of my work again. I'm running out of space. This requires a lot of work. Then I take 180 over 4, and I have to simplify it. I know 2 will work. Let's just start with 2. Half of 180 is 90. Half of 4 is 2. And then I need to simplify one more time. Half of 90 is 45. And then half of 2 is 1. 45 over 1 is equivalent to just plain old 45. So there, I finally have my answer. Okay, so you can see, yes, it's a lot of work, but you know the steps. If you go nice and slow and follow the steps, you're going to get it correct. Okay, but it does take time. All right, let's go on to the last problem. I'm going to erase some of my work again. You don't need to. You never need to. Just get more scratch paper. Just raise your hand. Say, hey, Mr. Music, I need more scratch paper. And I'll say, okay, go ahead and get some more. Good job. Keep up the good work. All right, there are 32 students in Mr. Moreno's class, and 62.5% of the students are girls. How many are boys in the class? Well, the boys and girls would be 100%. 62.5% are girls. We want to know how many are boys. Okay, I'm actually going to do that math up here. 100 minus 62.5. Add a decimal, add a 0. I'm going to borrow all the way down. Ten minus 5 is 5. Bring my decimals straight down. Notice my decimals are all lined up. 9 minus 2 is 7. 9 minus 6 is 3. So 37.5% are girls, but that's not what the question wants to know. We're not done. It says of the 32, so 37.5% of 32 is what I need to find. Now this looks just like all my other problems that I was doing earlier. It's a percent of a number. So I follow those same steps. I take 37.5 and put it over 100 because it's a percent per 100. And then I multiply it by 32. And I can change 32 to 32 over 1. Then I can cross simplify. Let's see, that's going to be 50 and 16, and then 25 and 8. So, divided, 4 could go into both of them. 4 goes into 124 times. 4 goes into 32 8 times. Now I can multiply straight across. 25 times 1 is 25. And then now I need to do the math of 37.5 times 8. And I'm going to do that right, let's see, I can do it up here. 37.5 times 8. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 7 is 56, plus 4 is 60. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 6 is 30. I got one number behind the decimal here. I have no numbers behind the decimal here, so I need to move the decimal over 1. I don't see a decimal, so it's hidden behind here. I move it over 1. That's 300. 0.0, but since it's 0.0, I can just leave that off. And then now I just need to simplify. 25 can go into both of these. 25 goes into 25 one time. 25 goes into 300. Goes into 100 4 times, and I have 300, so 4 times 3 is 12. So there are 12 boys in the class. That's my final answer. All right, thanks again for watching. And remember, hard work, dedication. Yes, it's a lot of steps, but you can do it. You got to put in the work. Take your time. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.